This video blog is on politics and procrastination. Speaking to a friend last week regarding Obama's proposal for a $2.9 trillion in cuts paired with $1.1 trillion in revenue increases based on closing of the loopholes, which Boehner soundly rejected. Originally, he was going to accept it, but then he rejected it based on pressures from his party. And my friend's response was that that wasn't the right idea because the government cannot be trusted with our money, and so therefore any kind of increase in revenue was bad. So the government had to show that it could trim the fat before we gave it money. And so that led to my thinking about politics and procrastination. We tend to put off doing something good till we see certain kind of results, but the good results never come. And so we ought to do the good things as quickly as possible as well and not wait for some of the other results. So politicians use that deferment tactic all the time. For example, when Bush did his first tax cuts, he'd of course inherited a surplus. And when he cut the taxes, he said, well, the growth, because of the tax cut, would lead to greater tax revenues, which then would balance the budget. Guess what? 8 years later, in 2009, we had over $1 trillion per year deficit. So that didn't work. And of course, we did not reverse the tax cut either, and we didn't trim the government, and so we did nothing. All right. And then when Bush went to war against Afghanistan, it was to find bin Laden. As it turns out, 10 years later, and in a war that we're still engaged in, that bin Laden was never in Afghanistan. He was hanging out in Pakistan, in Abbottabad. And so that, again, didn't work. Then Bush said, we need to invade Iraq because that's where the weapons of mass destruction were. And, of course, there were weapons of mass destruction there. And so, again, we just have to be careful not to use something that we get in the future for actions today that are unproven, unsubstantiated. However, when something good can happen immediately, and we would all agree that reducing our debt would be a terrific thing, then we ought to employ all possible means of reducing that debt. And so the $4 trillion agreement would have gone a long way. But beyond that, we should look at every opportunity to reduce the debt. And I really don't understand why not every person in this country is behind that proposal of quickly reducing our debt.